Hi and welcome to this week's Ask Charlie. I'm in my kitchen sharing a few favourite recipes with you. I've had lots of people get in touch, say please can you show us really quick easy recipes that you can just rustle up in a matter of minutes to feed your family. So the first recipe I'm going to show you is a firm favourite in this household. The children absolutely adore it and it's really super easy to make. So the first thing we need to do is chop up a shallot, and that is probably the hardest thing that you've got to do. I like these banana shallots because they're actually easier to cut. So I'm just going to take the top and the tail off, cut it in half. I probably won't use it all today. I just take the top layer off. This is a recipe that I have been cooking for my children for ages, and it's just something that you can rustle up really very quickly. Obviously if you've got the ingredients in your fridge, but it's something that I just tend to kind of have all the time on hand, and if they are starving or if our plans suddenly change, I can think, oh yeah, pasta, peas and bacon, and I know that I will have very happy children. So I'll just quickly chop this up. So I've got my shallot finely chopped there, and do chop it really quite finely. I'm using this fresh pasta, and this actually will feed all three children. Now they're getting bigger and they want seconds, not quite enough for seconds, but this will do a sensible portion for the three of them. And the fresh pasta cooks in 3 minutes, which is just perfect. So this can be ready in literally less than 10 minutes, which is just perfect. I'm just going to pop a knob of butter into a big pan. Now this pan has a lid, and it is helpful actually to have a big skillet or something that's got a lid for this recipe. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm just going to melt my butter over here, and I will bring you up close so you can see. But I keep a bag of these shallots in the larder, and I use them quite a lot. I use them in lots of different ways. They just have a different flavour to onions, and I love it. I put them in my burgers, I put them in all sorts of different things, but it's great to have a bag of those in your larder. And then I'm being lazy and using pre-chopped pancetta, but you can just use bacon and chop it up into pieces. And actually, if I'm using bacon, I just use a pair of kitchen scissors to cut it up into small pieces, and I find that really helpful. I'm just going to use one side a day. And the great thing about this, it's got quite a long shelf life, so you can just have it in your fridge as a kind of staple thing that you buy on a regular basis, and you can add it to all sorts of different recipes. I use it when I make my quiches. I will add it into all sorts of things with like chickpeas and chicken and whatever. It's just really useful to have. Now I can hear that my butter is sizzling, so we're going to go over and cook these shallots. So the butter is sizzling, and in that goes there. Just don't want it to burn, so just stir it. This is on quite a high heat, so medium to high heat to cook this. My arga is filthy. I was making jam yesterday and I need to give that a good clean. So just, you want to soften it and just so it starts to go translucent. Now, if I was cooking this for adults, I would probably put a pinch of sea salt in here now, but because it's for the children, I just try not to put too much salt into their diet. So I'm going to omit the sea salt here. You don't need it. And I'm just going to transfer it now onto a lower temperature and add the bacon. I'm going to put my pan of boiling water. If I cook dry pasta, I tend to do it inside the arga rather than having the lids up, but because it's only 3 minutes, and that's why I love it. It can be just done so quickly, and you've got hungry children that don't want to wait. Add in your bacon. You could add both of the packets of bacon, but this actually is just for 2 of the children today, so I'm just going to use 1 packet. And you just want that to cook through. I shall leave that cooking, and then you can see I have got some stock cubes here, and these are vegetable low sodium. Doesn't matter, but I always use a vegetable stock cube, and I'm only going to use 1/3 of it. You can use half, 1/3, it depends. If I was doing this sort of for all 5 of us, I would use half a stock cube, and I'm just going to crumble that into there. Give it a bit of a shake. I'm going to wait for my water to come to the boil. I can hear that the water is just coming to the boil, ready for my pasta. So I'm going to pop the whole bag in. And I'm going to set the timer. Alexa, set the timer for 3 minutes, please. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of this pasta water in here. And then add my peas in. I use petit pois. I just prefer them, to be honest. Give it a stir. Pasta water is great for adding into sauces and things. So always reserve a little bit of pasta water. It is useful. And I'm going to pop my lid on. Just give that a stir. And hopefully that won't boil over. While that's boiling, I'm just going to grate a little bit of Parmesan to go on the top. So the timer has just gone off. I'm just going to put a little bit of pasta water into my jug before I strain it. Close the lid on there, and those peas will have cooked while the pasta was cooking, and I'm just going to pour all of that pasta straight into there. I can't open it. So I've just got some double cream, which is not opening. There, we got there. And I'm just going to pour a little bit, probably about a tablespoon of double cream in. Now that is totally optional. You don't have to add the cream, but it does make it utterly delicious. Just give it a good mix. Now this is something that you could make a little bit in advance and just leave it with the lid on to one side and warm it up if you need to. So you could make it sort of half an hour before or whatever, you know, it will sit for a moment and it won't ruin. And there it is, super, super easy. So that is how quick and easy it is to make my pasta, peas and bacon. Now I've just got this pot out to show you because I often do tea on the go for the children. So when I pick them up, maybe they've had an activity after school or something and I know that they're going to be ravenous. Rather than giving them a snack, I actually take their supper in one of these and they have tea on the go. I take a tea towel and a fork and a bottle of water, pop it in here with some grated Parmesan on top, and they are very, very happy. It's obviously harder to eat spaghetti on the go, but this actually is fine. And on the whole, fingers crossed they don't make a mess in my car either, which is brilliant. So that is my pasta, peas and bacon. The recipe is in here, which is my family meal guide and planner. So this has got 7 days worth of recipes. I'm just going to show you the meal plan. So it's got all of my kind of family favourites in here, and that recipe's in there. And I also meal plan You may have heard me chatting about meal plans, but I think it's really, really crucial once a week to sit down and plan out your week. So I'm going to just show you a blank page. And then on the other side, you have got a section for notes, and then you've got your shopping list, which you can tear off if you go to a supermarket, or if you do online shopping, it's just really handy. And I've got them in this book because you can then look back and see, you know, the weeks that worked. If you don't have time to sit down and meal plan one week, you can just copy a previous week that you have done, and it just makes life a lot easier. Next up, we have another really, really easy recipe. So I'm using one of these. Now this is just laziness, but it's something great to have in the cupboard when you're short on time and you just want to be able to make something quickly, and you've got a few of these. Merchant Gourmet do lots of different varieties. This is called Glorious Grain, so it's got red rice, quinoa, and it's just yummy. So I'm just going to break it up a little bit in my fingers and then tip the contents into my tray. I'm just using a small roasting tin. I have lined it with some bacon glide, which I just find it easier and then things don't stick to the bottom. I'm just going to tip that whole pouch straight in there. Now you could use you know, pre-cooked, but this is what I want to show you, really quick, really easy, healthy meals that you can, you know, whip up. I mean, obviously pasta's not the healthiest, but this is. So let's just spread that out. So we've got a bed of grains on the bottom. And this is wild keto salmon fillets, and it is MSC certified. So Simon's got a fish business. We talk a lot about sustainability, and you know, if it's got the MSC certified, you know that it's come from, you know, a reliable source, which is important for sustainability of fish. So let's just rip this open. I have complained about these packets. I don't like them. I find them really tricky. I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you find these packets annoying? I know the company that produces this, and every time I see him I say, oh, please, when you change your packaging, I hate it. But anyway, that's my little gripe. Right, I'm going to just lift it out because I want it skin down onto my bed of grains. Just flip it like that. Oh, no, I didn't do that very well. Flip it over and just brush those grains off. It's fine. There. Right, this olive oil, I get it in Waitrose. It is bright and zingy lemon infused. Now you can make your own lemon infused olive oil, but actually since I found this, it's just really, really easy. So just gonna drizzle over some olive oil there. It's about a tablespoon, you know, really whatever is your preference. And then I've just got some dill tops, which I'm going to just sprinkle over the salmon. I think salmon and dill and lemon just work really well together. Great flavours, like so. Little sprinkle. And then I have got some cherry tomatoes on the vine, which actually I need to just give a quick rinse. I'm just back in a sec. And just pop those when I shook the water off, dropped off my vine. But it doesn't matter at all. I'm just going to put those cherry tomatoes there, and actually I'm just put a little bit more olive oil on those, like so. And in the oven for 15 minutes. I'm not covering it, I'm just going to put it in the roasting oven of my Olga. If you're using an electric oven, put it in the middle of the oven at 180 to 200 degrees centigrade. I'm going to serve some asparagus with our salmon, and I don't know if you know this trick, but if you get your asparagus and snap it, that is the hard end that you don't really want to eat, and it snaps at the right place, although that one's a bit bendy. but it does work pretty well. And then you're not wasting any asparagus, and it just tends to snap exactly where you want it to. So it's quite a good trick to know. I should just snap all of this. So asparagus is in season at the moment, and I love to eat as seasonally as we possibly can. Our bodies are designed to eat seasonally. They're not designed to be eating the same thing over and over again. And so seasonal veg, you know, should really be enjoyed when it is in season. I've just rinsed my asparagus and popped it in this Pyrex dish, but you could use a roasting tray, you know, whatever you have to hand. I am going to sprinkle over a little bit of sea salt. Now, I find it's better to grill or bake or roast your asparagus rather than boiling it, because it takes all the goodness out of it. So actually you leave all the goodness in cooking it this way. A little bit of oil, olive oil, a little drizzle over there, or you could just use some butter. And that is really, really simple. And I'm going to whack it in the Aga with my salmon. So my salmon has probably been in there for about 5 minutes. So these will just have about 10 minutes in the roasting oven alongside the salmon. While the salmon's cooking, I thought I'd just chat through a couple of other recipes that you can just whip up really quickly. So I love this Pizza Express passata. You can use that and a jar of roasted peppers and the oil that they're in, and literally put the can, the peppers, you could add in a few carrots if you've got time to cook it, add a little bit of vegetable stock or chicken stock or whatever you've got to hand, and really, really quick, easy soup. Blend it up and you've got a soup, you know, within about 5 minutes. So that's, you know, something really quick that you can do. Also with this passata, if I'm in a hurry and say I want to do pasta with a tomato sauce, I will add in some chorizo. I'll just fry that up, or a little bit of the pancetta, and add that into the tomato sauce. And that's a really quick, kind of easy thing to do. Or just, you can just use this as it is as a tomato sauce as well. And you can add in a little bit of your pasta water, like I showed you when I did the pasta, peas and bacon. You just reserve a little bit of that, add in a little bit of pasta water, and that just loosens it up. And then a firm favourite in our household, it's upside down, is gnocchi. Again, something really useful just to have in your larder. And you can either use pesto out of a jar, or you can make some pesto in literally minutes. So I've got basil here, and I often talk about how to pick your basil, and I'm going to show you. You just want to pinch the leaf off like that. And then underneath you've got these little tiny leaves. I don't know, let's come up as close as I can. You've got the little leaves, and if you pinch it, then those leaves will grow. Basil doesn't like to be cut, and it also doesn't like to be watered. It doesn't like to have water on the leaves. So make sure when you water it, just lift it out of your pot or whatever and water the soil, or water it from underneath. Don't put water on the leaves, because that's when it will kind of die and go yucky. But you can keep a basil plant living for ages. So literally pick your basil leaves, put in a handful of pine nuts, a little bit of sea salt, some olive oil and some grated parmesan. Blitz it up. In fact, I'll show you what I use to blitz. So I've got one of these Kenwood tri blenders, I think it's called, tri blades, and you literally just blitz it like that, and you've got pesto in an instant. And I always have fresh basil on the side. I'm using it the whole time when I'm cooking. And so gnocchi and fresh homemade pesto is a really quick, easy thing. Gnocchi takes 2 minutes to cook, and your pesto probably takes 3 minutes to make, if that. I think the hardest thing is grating the parmesan. So another really quick, easy meal to do, you know, in a flash. The timer has just gone to tell me that the salmon and asparagus are ready. So honestly, it is so quick, so easy, and you can just rustle up a healthy meal, and really is delicious with those grains. And then with the asparagus, just toss it in that oil and sea salt and pop it on the plate to serve. There we are. Done. Thank you for joining me in the kitchen today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please remember to give me a thumbs up if you have, leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I am wishing you a really happy weekend, and I will see you again next week.